In this 6-minute message, which I think will be the last in our current series on the Holy Spirit, our relationship with and our reliance upon, I want to take you to what I think is one of the most fundamental, one of the most thought-provoking, one of the most challenging verses in the whole of the Bible, and there are many. I hope you find it helpful. Do you know, when I think about the Holy Spirit, our reliance upon and our relationship with, time and time again I find myself coming back to the same verse and the same chapter because it presents to me probably one of the most incredible challenges, one of the most daunting challenges of my life. And it's Jesus' words in John chapter 14 and verse 12. You know the passage so well, don't you? I'm sure. He says this, "Truly, truly, I say unto you, anyone who has faith in me will do what I have been doing." Now, if ever there was an invitation to go back through the Gospels and see what Jesus had been doing, then it's got to be this verse, hasn't it? And whenever you look back and you look at what Jesus did, what Jesus taught, how Jesus healed, the miracles he performed, the words that he said, and realize that here in this verse there is an invitation for us to go and do likewise, that in and of itself is a real challenge, isn't it? But he goes on, doesn't he? And he says, "And even greater things than these shall you do, because I am going to the Father." You see, up until this point, the Holy Spirit has been with them because he's been in Jesus. And all the miracles that the disciples were able to do, they were doing vicariously because they were there in the presence of Jesus. They were going where he sent them and doing what he told them to do. But in John 20:21, he breathes on them and says, "Receive the Holy Spirit." In Acts 1 verse 8, he says, "You will be my witnesses when the Holy Spirit comes upon you." And here in John 14, he tells us that the Holy Spirit has been with you, but he shall be in you. And what he's doing is he's telling us that the secret, the way to and the means to access the things that Jesus is doing, the greater things that we shall do, is by doing them the same way that Jesus himself did them. Because he goes on to tell us that he will send us another comforter. When he has ascended, he will send one who will come to us and remain with us and abide with us forever. Jesus says, "I will not leave you or forsake you." And so the means by which you and I are going to be able to do the things that Jesus did, and make no bounds about it, we are commanded, this is a command here in John 14 verse 12, we are commanded to do what Jesus did, that we must recognize the fact that we have to rely upon the one that Jesus relied upon, the Holy Spirit. We have to foster, we have to develop a relationship with the Spirit of Christ who lives in us. And the interesting thing about John 14 and the rest of the chapter is that he explains to us that he who receives the Spirit receives Christ. He who receives the Spirit receives the Father. That all three will come and make their home within us, because if you get one, you get all. That's the point. That's the thing he's saying. So what is it that he's saying in terms of how are you and I going to do what Jesus did? Simply this. We are to do it in the way that Jesus did it. Jesus did it by reliance upon the Spirit that lived within him and rested upon him and remained. And we are to do the same. And when we do that, we find that Christ is alive in us and that the Father lives with us. And that's really important. That is the most mind-blowing, heart-ripping reality and truth that you and I have to not only grasp with our minds and our hearts, but enter into in the living of our lives. And if ever there was something worth living your life for, devoting yourself to, then it has got to be the fulfillment of this verse in your life and in your experience. And so I hope you found this series helpful. There's been, 15, 16 talks, 6-minute messages, and I hope that you will take the time to revisit some of them, because they've all got something quite significant, I think, to say. And I don't say that because I've said it. I've said it because I honestly believe that I've been prompted by the Spirit to post them, and I hope that you'll find them helpful and encouraging and inspiring. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you say and what you think about the whole subject, because the truth is that I honestly believe that this is the key. This is the fundamental factor in seeing the church in the UK turn around and become all that God intends it to be. We need to learn to rely upon fully the Holy Spirit. We need to learn to draw upon his power, the same power that raised Jesus from the dead. We need to do Jesus' deeds if we're to see greater things than these. So that's my 6-minute message. A little shorter this time, but I hope you find it nonetheless inspiring. And be really interested in your comments and your thoughts. Pop them in the comments section or direct message me. Love to hear from you. But thanks for watching. Hope you found it helpful.